Hey everybody, we are back with matchup of the day, this time with the 4 best teams from the Pakistan and Afghanistan regions in Qualifier 1 of the NODWIN Valorant Conquerors Championship. मजा आने वाला है क्योंकि दोस्तों अभी तो पार्टी शुरू हुई है. So first up we have Salt Esports versus Team Exploit Storm. This is one of the more known matchups where we have Salt, former winners of the Jazba Cup, versus Exploit Storm, the team that has recently dominated the scene even in the Jazba Invitational. So ये matchup बहुत खतरनाक होने वाला है क्योंकि दोनों known factors हैं, मतलब दोनों पूरा prep करके आएंगे. देखते हैं कौन सी टीम आगे निकल जाए. So if we take a look at the vetoes for both of the teams, you'll notice that Exploit Storm likes to ban Breeze and Salt Esports likes to ban Bind, which I expect to carry on because the natural ban of Bind works very well against Exploit Storm, whose strongest maps are Bind and Split in general. So if Salt Esports does ban our Bind and Exploit bans our Breeze, the first pick inherently remains where Salt Esports, as you can see, they've picked Icebox. If they get that first picks, are likely to pick up Icebox again. And then Exploit Storm will pick up either Split or Ascent, whichever is remaining, assuming Salt Esports ban Bind. The third map is where it gets really interesting. I want to see which team actually gets the pick, because if Salt do, I think it could be Haven. But if Exploit do, I expect it to be the other of Split and Ascent, because Exploit Storm are really strong on those maps. If you look at the compositions run by both of these teams, what really stands out is the fact that Team Salt run the Jet Race combo, the no flash combo on both Icebox and Ascent, whereas Team Exploit Storm a little more caught up with the meta. For example, as you can see on Bind, they run that double controller, double initiator combo, and I think that's where the biggest difference is gonna lie. Team Salt has to be very careful when it goes into maps like Ascent, Split and Haven particularly, because they need that flasher in their team, especially against a team like Exploit Storm. Without it, your team composition becomes extremely dependent on good executes as well as like a lot of aim duels to go through, and that's where I think the biggest edge is gonna lie. I want to see how Salt is able to adapt to that, prepare for that, and come to Exploit Storm with a specific game plan, because otherwise, composition wise, I do give a slight edge over to Team Exploit Storm. So looking at the head-to-head for both of these players, Hats and Shooter, you'll notice that the stats are strikingly similar. What really is going to set them apart is how they manage to enable their team with their gameplay, and that's where I feel like a bit of an edge does go over to Shooter, simply because of the wealth of options available to Team Exploit Storm, because Shooter has played both Raze and Reyna for these stats as compared to Hats, who's only picked up that Raze. What I want to see is how Hats is actually able to adapt that Raze kit to make do for the lack of the flash, how he's able to use that boombot effectively to counter the approach of a player like Shooter, who's that pure entry fragger, has the options like a flash in his playbook to actually go and make space for his team. The next matchup we have on the table is Team Arrow versus Namak Bois, and this matchup is more of that underdogs fight as compared to the last one. Arrow, of course, we know a lot more of, where in the grand finals of the Jazba Cup Invitational, as compared to Namak Bois that we know very little of them, which means they bring something brand new, something spicy to the table. Looking at the vetoes for Team Arrow, what instantly stands out to me is the fact that they pick up that Breeze map willingly. Now, this gives them a huge advantage because it forces Namak Bois to either very quickly adapt to the map of Breeze or ban it out entirely. And what I do expect is that ban from Namak Bois on Breeze, which will give Arrow their preferred map of Bind in general, and does give them that tiny advantage that they need. But taking a deeper dive into the compositions that Team Arrow plays, I want to bring your attention to the map of Bind. Specifically, the style Team Arrow likes to play involves that Jet, Reyna, Cypher, Sky and Astra combo. Personally, I love this combo because Astra on Bind particularly offers a lot of options where you can play her as a solo anchor, but you can also play her in a trio in that playmaker role that she's actually making things happen. Similarly, the Sky as well, you can play her as that pseudo duelist, almost anchoring on the defensive side, using her flashes to continuously gain information, or you could play her as a playmaker in combination with both the Jet and Reyna, where you are continuously using the utility provided to create space for your teammates. In general, Arrow is that sort of team that continuously has a lot of options, so Namak Bois are gonna have to prepare accordingly. I am hella pumped for these matchups. It's the 4 best teams in the Pakistan and Afghanistan regions, and it means that we're gonna get one hell of a show. Let me know which teams you think have the edge in these semi-finals matchups in the comments down below. Make sure you subscribe, hit the notifications bell so you are on time for the intense showdown that is about to happen on the 17th of July.